We present Minerva-Ego, Spatiotemporal Hints for Egocentric Video Understanding. Minerva-Ego is a video visual question answering dataset with reasoning traces. It is built on top of HD Epic. It contains difficult visual reasoning questions created with highly qualified human annotators. It also has ground truth human reasoning traces for deriving the correct answer. Reasoning traces are spatio-temporally grounded by ground truth segmentation masks. There are in total 1160 questions on 156 unique egocentric videos. It is meant as a zero-shot evaluation benchmark. Now let's look at an example. So the question here is, after spooning oil into the measuring cup, what is the highest number to appear on a digital scale when weighing the first ingredient? There are a couple of multiple choice answer options, with 10 being the correct answer. It also comes with a ground truth reasoning trace, which goes as follows. 1. I watched the video to see when the user measures the oil into the cup with the spoon, observe that this happens from some timestamp. 2. I continue to watch the video after seeing this action to find where the user weighs something on a scale, etc. etc. So as you can see, the ground truth reasoning trace come with timestamps, and also the most nouns are linked to the ground truth segmentation masks. Now the first question which you want to answer is, how difficult is Minerva-Ego for current gen foundational models? So we compared a bunch of different models, including the open source Qwen-free model, and conclude that Gemini Pro 2.5 Pro is best at 40% accuracy. However, human performance is almost at 92% accuracy, which suggests that our evaluation benchmark will be useful for the foreseeable future. We use our ground truth human reasoning traces to analyze why the models make mistakes using the Mira metric. If you focus on Gemini and look at the logical reasoning completeness, it's very good. However, on perceptual correctness and temporal grounding, there's a massive gap. So another question is, can we maybe aid the foundational models in this aspect? To do so, we propose to give the model spatiotemporal hints, first in an oracle experiment. First of all, we use visual highlighting, where we highlight the objects referenced in the ground truth reasoning trace with segmentation masks, boxes, or circles, and the class names. We also have a temporal selection, where we feed only frames which contain the reference objects, up to a total of 256 frames. If we look at the results, we can see that the best visual highlighting method is displaying both circles and classes, which gives good performance improvements of almost 3%. We also show that the temporal selection gives us an additional 3% boost, which demonstrates that both spatial temporal highlighting methods work and that they are orthogonal. The next question is, can we replicate this result with real segmentation models? So what we do is, given the question in the video, we ask Gemini to give a list of relevant objects for the question. Then we exclude large static objects, and we exclude also anything related to the person. We then use ALV2, an internally trained segmentation model, to provide segments for each frames. Then we highlight the objects as before. In this experiment, the best visualization type is show the class names, which gives a marginal improvement over the baseline. However, the temporal selection gives a good 2% over the baseline, which demonstrates that our spatiotemporal highlighting also works with real segmentation models. Now let us again look at the Mira scores. We compare the baseline, the oracle results, and the real segmentation results. As can be seen, most improvements are in perceptual correctness and temporal grounding, which demonstrates that our method is working as intended. Now let us look at a qualitative example. The question is, after rinsing the eggs, what is the first item, not including the eggs themselves, that I touch with my left hand? Now without spatiotemporal hints, the reasoning goes as follows. The video shows the person rinsing eggs on two separate occasions. The first time is around 3 minute 11, where one egg is rinsed. The second time is around 3 minute 50, where two eggs is rinsed. The question uses the plural eggs, which more clearly applies to the second instance, and then it reasons from the second instance. However, if we have spatiotemporal hints, our object detector correctly detects that there are two eggs at timestamp 3 minute 11. And then the LLM picks up on this and reasons correctly from there, and eventually it arrives at the correct answer. Finally, we demonstrate that our spatial temporal hints generalize to other datasets by applying it to EcoTempo using real segmentation results. To conclude, we introduced Minerva-Ego, an egocentric video VQA dataset with human reasoning traces. We demonstrated foundation models have gaps on perceptual correctness and temporal grounding. We demonstrated that foundation models benefit from explicit highlighting and temporal selection. For more details or for questions, come by our poster or drop us an email.